Hi, this is Kaery with Kaery Concealed and the Active Self-Protection Extra channel. Today, I wanted to share with you something that I like to do every 2 years.
MagTech is the only freedom seed I use on the range. I personally have over 100,000 rounds downrange of MagTech, and it's unbelievably reliable, very accurate, and a great value. Pick some up for your next range trip wherever you shop for range supplies.
Every 2 years, I like to do a compilation or a review of what's happened in the last 2 years. Things from what courses did I take, what notes do I want to review, how did the courses I taught go, what can I do to change them, the gear that I'm taking with me when I go to teach, is that still serving me well? And I still do evaluations like that after each class I take and each class I teach, but I don't look at it in the context of all of the classes that I take and teach. So every 2 years, I do like to do it that way. It's a comprehensive look of everything I've done and taught, taken, learned, read in the past 2 years. And it seems more impactful for me if I do it every 2 years. I know a lot of people do things like that every year. And for me, my life as a mom and a wife and trainer and friend and what have you is a bit unpredictable sometimes. And so there can be a year's period of time where it doesn't seem like much happened, or it doesn't seem like I grew much, or it doesn't seem like I even had a chance to take many classes. But if I do it in a 2-year time span, it just gives me a broader view, and it seems to be a little bit more encouraging to me as well. So I thought I'd share my process with you of what I like to review and look at, and then maybe you can share your process with us that you have down in the comments so we can learn from you. So one of the very first things I like to look at is, just for funsies, I like to look at the different states that I taught in the past 2 years. So my list of states: Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, Arizona, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Those, at least that's what I could remember. Those are the states that I have taught in. And I also really like to look at the where the students are from that I've taught. That informs me as to maybe some state laws that I need to be more familiar with as far as use of force and things like that. So I kind of like to get some numbers on that. So I'm not going to read them all to you, but over the past 2 years, we've had students in our courses representing 31 states, which is really cool. So thank you for all of those of you that came out and trained with us and trusted me with your time. Because like I say, every time I teach, I can't give your time back. I give your money back if you're not happy, but I can't give your time back. And so it's really important to me that I make good use of your time when you're with me, and that you feel like you're growing and learning. So anyway, 31 states, students from 31 states in the past 2 years. And in the past 2 years, I've taught under just under 1,100 students, so around 500 in 2024 and a little over 6 in 2023. Let's see. The next thing I like to review is the list of students that I have trained in that 2-year span. And so I have a notebook that I write down. Oh, where'd that go? Here it is. I have a notebook that I write down my students' names in when they register for a course. And I like to review that notebook. Here's my notebook here. I like to review that notebook and just think about each one, and was there something in particular I learned from, they wrote in my notes that I learned from them that I want to be mindful of or consider when I'm evaluating curriculum and that sort of thing. One of the things I really love doing with student lists is reviewing student data from the courses that we teach. So I like to give my students an opportunity to collect some objective data, subjective as well, but some objective data as well, so they can see if they have made changes during the time they were in class with us and areas they want to grow in the future. So whenever Miss Natalie teaches with me, that girl, I'm telling you, a big shout out to Nat. If you ever need the world's best, instructor as well, but AI also, Nat's it. She's amazing, but she takes the most, I better cover up the students' names just to be kind. But she keeps great stats for me on this is from a secret sub-second draw class. She also, at the beginning of every class, Nat goes around and asks the students questions for me. She asks them their name, basically what do they like to be called. I usually have their name on the list anyway, but I want to make sure that what I have down for them is what they like to be called, and then where they're from and how long they've been training, or I might ask that in a different way. We might ask the approximate number of formal firearm courses you've had. And then we also love to ask, what do you most want to get out of the class today? And for me, that's the most important. I mean, other than what they want to be called, that's important for me too. I want to make sure I call them by the right name and what they want to be called by. But it's really important for me to know what they want to most get out of the class. Sometimes that's because what they want to get out of the class might not be something that we're even covering in that class. And in that case, I will then, and this has only happened a handful of times, but I'll just I don't say that, oh, you're not going to get that out of this class, but I'll just verify with them, what class were you planning on taking today or in this block or what have you? And we just verified that they're in the right class. And usually once we clarify, there have been times when they have been in the wrong class, so we get them to the right class. And there have been other times where I just sought a little more clarification, and I was just thinking of it differently than they were, and we were definitely going to be covering what they were most hoping to get. So I love looking at student data. I love seeing where they're from. I love seeing about how many classes they've had. We love it. I love it when I get folks that have never had any formal instruction before. And I also like getting people that have been teaching for ages. We get police officers that train with us, Department of Corrections, all kinds of different backgrounds people come from. When Natalie asks them what they most hope to get out of the class, it's been fun. Their answers to that have been fun. Usually when I ask them, and I'm usually the one that asks them when I teach in my area by myself and Natalie's not with me, I'm the one asking the student questions. So they're not always as forthcoming with me as they are with Natalie, but it was really cute. This year we had, in the past 2 years, I just wrote it down. We had 19 people who came and said that they were taking classes with Kaery to steal Kaery stuff. And that absolutely made me crack up. I try to say, but I think I don't say it enough, there's no stealing going on. It's all yours. Anything I share is yours. Honestly, there's nothing I share that's new. I've learned it from someone or somewhere. There's literally nothing new under the sun. That's what the wisest man wrote couple thousand years ago. So I don't want to make it seem like they're there to steal my stuff, and I don't ever want anybody to feel bad if they teach something or use something that I use. And I'm happy to tell people where they got it from, where I got it from, whatever it is that I teach. Lots of people that came wanted to learn how to shoot more accurately or more precisely, and then also how to shoot faster. And those are the two that we see most often. I think because of the class titles I often teach. We had a lot of people. We had like 29 folks just when we were back east that wanted to understand. They wanted to learn lessons from other people. Okay, these other people have experienced lethal force encounters. What can I learn from them? And because I don't want to, if I can learn from a mistake someone made, or if I can learn from something they learned or something they experienced, that's a good thing for us to be able to do. And it was neat for me. That's the first time I've seen that on people's responses, that they came because they wanted to learn from other people. And then one other thing is that we had a number of people, over 100 people just in the last year, 100 people in the last year said that they wanted to learn how to coach themselves. And that just made me so happy, because that's what I want for my students more than anything. I used to say it like, I don't want my students to have to need me, and I don't mean it that I don't want to be there and help them. What I meant by that is I want to help my students learn what they need to learn to be able to understand these principles so that they can self-correct. And if they can self-identify an issue and they know the correction for that issue, then it's perfect. Of course I want to see them, but I don't mean it to be impersonal, and I don't want a relationship with my students, because that isn't the case. I very much enjoy working with the people I get to work with, and I just think we have some of the best students. I know we have the best students on the planet, honestly. The most phenomenal people come to our classes. So it was really exciting for me to see that many people. It was actually a little over 130 people said that they wanted to learn how to coach themselves, and that was super, super exciting for me. So in addition to reviewing student lists, I also, let me see, what the number was that? That was 3. Okay, I also like to look at the courses that I've developed for over that 2-year period of time, courses that I taught, and maybe even some that I've developed that I haven't taught yet but will be teaching, and I just like to review those and kind of remind myself what those are. So in the past 2 years, I developed curriculum for 5 brand new courses. 4 of them I have taught already, and the other one I will be teaching later this year. And then I revamped 3 courses. And by revamp, I don't mean just adjusting little things here or there. I mean making some pretty major changes in what's covered or in the order in which it's covered. And that's usually just to streamline things and make it more efficient for the learners. I also, in the past years, got to teach some continuing legal ed seminars to attorney groups, and that's something I very much hope to do in the next 2 years. I really enjoyed that process, and they're just great learners and thinkers, and they've got great questions, so I hope I get that chance again too. And then I like to review the number of hours I had as a student. So in the past 2 years, I calculated I had, which still this blows my mind, but 692 hours of instructor level courses I've taken, and these are formal hours, and then 181 hours of student level, and that's a flip for me. Normally it's the other way, not quite that big of a disparity. Usually it's kind of close to equal, but I don't intentionally look for instructor certifications. I do look for instructor courses in an area that I want to learn more about. And the reason I don't look for instructor certifications is because it's not the certification I'm after, because I'm not going to go teach that instructor's material. What I do want, though, is I do want the content that is taught. So an example would be in a video analysis and review course. An instructor level course of that, or an advanced course, I've found instructor level courses is where most of the information is. In a student level course, people are usually only getting, maybe a quarter, if that, of that instructor's knowledge in that area. And the rest of it, they don't have time to share in the student course. And so that's often why I look for instructor level courses. And that's one of the reasons why people will ask me often if I teach, I get asked often if I teach an instructor course for sniper pistol or secret to sub-second draw. And a secret to sub-second draw curriculum, by the way, is Miss Steph, Mr. John, and Mr. Neal's curriculum, and it's their course title, which is an awesome course title. And we've tweaked it here and there and have fun with it. But people will ask, hey, do you teach an instructor course for that? And when I ask them what they're hoping to get out of an instructor course, what they want is they want a deeper dive, and they want more information as to why it's structured the way it's structured, why it's taught the way it's taught. In the case of a sniper pistol, they want more information about the science behind it and why it works the way it does, and how to most efficiently teach that. So anyway, so that's my total number of hours. And I am doing a sniper pistol instructor course in Arkansas in May of 2025. So if you want more information on that, just send me an email and I will be happy to answer your questions. I'm looking forward to coming. It'll be my very first time in the state of Arkansas. I've flown over it many times, it never stepped on the ground. All right, then I also like to review the people that I've had a chance to either teach alongside, where I've been an AI for them, or folks that have been important to me as far as mentors during the past 2-year period of time. And so there's just some people I want to say thank you to. I don't know if they'll ever see this, I hope they do, but Katie Johnson is one of them. Katie is an amazing instructor, and she's allowed me to assist. I don't really assist, I'm just there, but she does all the teaching. But in a couple courses she's taught at the national conference, and it's just a pleasure to watch her with her students, and I learn so much from her every time. Mr. Howie is another one that I got to learn from. I don't feel like I was assisting him much at all. I was just soaking in Mr. Howie Marbury. I was just soaking in everything he had to say and the way he designed his courses. And Mr. Akil is also one of them that I got to learn from. And then, of course, Mr. John, Miss Steph, Mr. Neal, Mr. Chris, I get to teach alongside them regularly, and I'm thankful for that. Miss Ashley as well, and Miss Natalie. So I enjoyed through ASPIC being able to teach with them and alongside them. And when we teach around the country as well. I also got to AI for Mr. Masad Ayub, and that has been an honor and a pleasure to do that. And Mr. Chuck Haggard, I got to AI for him at the ASP National Conference in not in 2024, but in 2023. And it was fun to see him in an instructor role. And then the last person I want to mention that I got to work with in the past years and learn from is Bob Smith. And try not to get choked up here, but Mr. Bob is from Eastern Washington, North Idaho, and a phenomenal man. We lost him just a couple of months ago, very, very unexpectedly and suddenly. And Mr. Bob is a highly regarded firefighter, husband, father, friend, brother, paramedic, firearms instructor in the late 1980s and early 90s and through the 2000s. He taught thousands upon thousands upon thousands of students in this area. And I'm just so thankful for what I got to learn from him. He also did a lot of expert witness work, and he was a tremendous encouragement to me in both areas. He always had time for my, I'm sure, lengthy and never-ending questions. And I want to be that type of resource for other people as well, because it really made a difference for me, and oftentimes would give me the encouragement I needed to continue going, or to lean harder into a topic that I might be having trouble understanding or want to understand more. And so he also did a ton of expert witness work. And shortly before he passed, we didn't know he was going to pass, but he invited me to come and borrow all of his binders of, shelves of expert witness work that he had done, cases all closed, completely adjudicated. And what I learned from going through those has just been huge in helping me with the big projects that I have going on as far as expert witness work. And I'm just so thankful for Mr. Bob. So if you knew of Bob Smith, you'll know that we are indeed diminished. And I want him to be proud of how I teach, and I want him to, I want to do what he did, and I want to be available to help other people and give folks a leg up that are wanting to teach, because we need more people doing this. So, and I think the last thing I was going to mention is I had the pleasure of walking alongside around 20 active self-protection instructor candidates in the past 2 years. And it's a rigorous program. And so many of those folks made me so proud of their, they just were willing to embrace learning opportunities. They were willing to embrace the struggle. They were willing to work hard and wrestle with hard topics. And it's just been a pleasure to see them grow. And so we have now a little over 20 more heartfelt, value-added instructors have been added to the ASP instructor community. And we're just grateful for them. And it was an honor to walk alongside you. You know who you are. I'm not going to read all your names, but you know who you are. And we're just so thankful that we got to interact with you. So in part 2 of this, I was going to share with you the process I go through in evaluating the courses I teach, and the actual content of them, and then the tools I use to teach. And so we'll do that in part 2. But for now, that's it. I hope this has been helpful for you. I would love it if you'd want to share with us what your review process is like, and how you look back and kind of look at what you've done, and then where you want to go. I'd love to hear what your process is if you'd like to share that with us in the comments. All right, thank you, and we'll see you next week.